Hey guys, Will Duke here from SoundOps, the interactive mastering studio. What if I told you there were two things that you could do to make your music more engaging and more attractive on a subconscious level for the people who listen to it? What if there were two things that you could do that would not only separate your songs from the other bands out there, but they would make people want to buy it and want to listen to it and want to turn it up and not know why? There are two things that you can do. The first thing has to do with rhythm. What you may not realize is that on a subconscious level, when people listen to a song that has rhythmic issues where, let's say, the drummer and the bassist aren't really in the pocket together, or the singer rushes everything, or I don't know, any number of rhythmic mistakes that could happen in a recording. On a subconscious level, there's a need to hold back. From the listener's perspective, they can't really commit, they can't really trust the music because any minute there could be another one of these blunders, you know. And it's something that a lot of bands don't really think about as much because, you know, if you're mostly tight and if people come to your shows and like your music and if people buy it and they buy the t-shirts, then what's the big deal, right? Well, because you don't realize how many more people would come to the shows and how many more people would buy t-shirts if you guys were more tight. It has a bigger role than you might think. When we work in a mastering studio. We hear a lot of stuff that we can't fix. That's a mixing issue. If the producer accidentally slides a track just a hair to the left, and it sounds pretty good with the rest of the stuff. I mean, it happened on the Killer CD, their first CD. I don't know which one it is. What's the name of that? Hot Fuzz, something like that. Anyway, Killer's first record had a great song in there, and right in the middle, there's this part where it seems like the drummer is behind the band, but he's really in time with himself. So much so that it's hard to believe that he messed up so perfectly, and still messed up. It was because it was a sliding track problem. I mean, it happens all the time when you're editing, but it plays a bigger role than guys give it credit for. So the first thing, like I say, is rhythm. Practice to a metronome, record to a metronome, unless your band plays stuff that's really dreamy or really loose and you want to be free of a particular time, that's fine, but the band really does need to be extra tight together if they're not going to be tight to a tempo. Because when people listen to that stuff and it sounds really tight, a good example would be Seven Dust, right? A relatively heavy band that has such a tight sound. I mean, for people like me, nothing is quite as great as listening to a band that you can trust rhythmically. When you're listening to to a breakdown or to something in a funny time signature, something cool, and it's going to be super tight, you suspend disbelief and you just enjoy it so much more on a subconscious level is what I'm saying. And another thing that does that is production. I mean, of course, I'm going to say that because we do mastering. It'd be obvious that would matter to me, but it doesn't just matter to me. It has a profound effect on the people who listen to your songs. When they are really well produced, that trust factor comes into play again. I know that I can trust the sound that's about to come out of my speaker. That's an important thing, because if they're listening, for example, I'll tell you how you know that I'm telling you something that's real. Put in a demo from a band that you like, one of your band buddies, right? Who says, "Oh, check out our new demo, dude." And you say, "Okay, great." You put it in your CD player. Immediately, what are you thinking? This is probably going to sound like garbage. You know it. You know that it's your buddy's demo. In fact, he probably even told you, "Yeah, we're still trying to work on this," or whatever. I mean, all that means, blah 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 blah, is it's going to sound like garbage. And it's not uncommon. But you notice the reserve that you have when you're listening. There's just a reserve. You aren't willing to just give in and engage, because you know any minute something horrible is going to happen. There's going to be a massive clip on the bass drum, or the guitar is just going to sound really bad. EQ problems are the worst. If there's one range that's really spiked up high, it only takes about 30 seconds, and you start, you get a headache. You don't know why. Why does it sound so bad? It's a production issue. If your band has good production, if you get a good recording, take your time, get a great mix, send it off for mastering, it's going to make such a big difference for your sound. And in doing so, it's going to make a big difference in the number of people who hear your music that become fans. I mean, I know you probably don't want to look at your band like a business. You should, but you probably don't want to. It's not a problem. Most guys have a hard time really looking at, like, conversion rates, for example. How many people does it take that hear your songs to want to buy them? Or hear your songs that want to buy your t-shirt? Or hear your songs that want to come to a show? Those are all conversion rates that you can actually track if you stay on it, within a certain amount. You don't really know how many people are out there listening to music, but you can see on YouTube how many times your videos are played. You have an idea of how many times on the radio these things are going out, or on your website you can track on your player. So you have an idea. So what I'm saying is that if your production is great, if your rhythm is great, it's going to make a difference. Those are things that you can do that'll subconsciously boost your fan base, your finances as a band, and your overall popularity. Your the general effect of your music is going to be more positive on a subconscious level. And so that's it. I don't want to go all into the biology of it, talk about your cerebellum and your brainstem and everything else. I'm not taking it too far. I'm just saying, subconsciously, your music can have a better effect than someone else's if you go take these 2 steps. Play to a metronome, record to a metronome, be tight. And 2, get it mixed well and get it mastered, because it's going to make a massive difference. Anyway, guys, I hope that helps. Good luck out there, and don't forget to check out SoundOps.com.